Hey everyone, Zaza here, back with another educational gameplay commentary. This time, it's a French mirror on Borneo. I start with the 100 gold start, so that means I'm going to have to be building a market first and then trading some of that gold for wood so that I can build a house and get hunting dogs. Those are my sort of two objectives in Age 1, along with collecting the 800 food to age up. So a little bit about the French mirror. I like to go for a musketeer semi-FF, but I actually start with a barracks and a stable instead of a barracks and two houses, and then I send 700 wood first. And the reason I do this is because it allows me to stay in colonial with Musk Huss if the other person rushes, if they go full musketeer or musketeer hussar. And then also, if I see they're aging up, I like to do a timing push around the 8 to 9 minute mark, and then I follow that up with an age up myself if they are in fact going fortress age. So it sort of gives me the flexibility of, I can stay colonial if they're staying colonial, or if they're going up to the next stage, I can create a timing push, do some damage, and then follow up myself.
Votre ordre? Maçon. Chasseur. Prêt. Votre ordre? Chasseur. Prêt. Je le ferai.
Here, after I get enough coin for hunting dogs, I still need to chop a little bit of wood, but then I get the upgrade queued and then send all my villagers to food. Now I'm just saving up to age, aiming for 14 vill age up, as that's sort of the standard. Here I sort of barely get my villain time, otherwise I'd have some idle town center time, and that might slow my age up.
Oui, correct. Très bien.
On low hunt maps like Borneo, it's really common for both players to play aggressively, since you don't have that many hunts near your base, so you'll run out of eco if you just sort of stay in base and wait for the other person to attack you. Map control is super important. So it's good to check and scout and just make sure that you see where their hunts are and determine whether or not they have enough to just stay in base. And if they don't, it's also good to see them on the map so that you'll be able to tell if villagers are collecting from them, and then you can later raid them with your cavalry. As you can see, I did a pretty bad job kiting that treasure, and I took a lot of HP on my explorer because of it. And that actually comes back almost to bite me later in this game. So you'll see there are a couple times from where my explorer is super low HP, and it would have been helpful to not have taken so much damage from those treasure guardians. So it's always something to look out for. You never know when your explorer could be about to die, so it's always best to kite the treasure guardians, assuming you have the time to. Here, I don't quite get a good age up time. Optimal is 3 minutes, and I'm about 10 to 11 seconds behind that. I'm just sort of spamming on the button to try to get it as fast as possible here. So yeah, my explorer is kind of low, and ideally I want to get the wood upgrade and then transfer about 10 CDB to wood in order to build an trading post. So, but as I said, my explorer HP is sort of low, so I need to be careful, make sure he doesn't take any additional damage before he starts building it, in case he gets taken down. So there I see that it looks like they crack-shotted one of the 4 rhinos guarding the 320 XP treasure. So that's going to be something I need to keep in mind. That's a long-term goal of theirs, is to get that treasure, and if I can snag it, they'll likely have wasted 4 of their crack shots on it, and a lot of time, and then I can just come and swoop in. So that needs to be something sort of on my mind. If you ever see someone going at one of those long-term treasures like that, try to keep note of it and try to stay focused on it. Here I'm just finishing up with some market upgrades. It's always good to get the coin upgrade so that you can start transferring villagers over to coin. And here he's snagging me with his scout and his explorer, but I barely have enough HP to finish it off. And here I see I'm probably going to get killed, so I just stop my explorer by the trading post so that when he dies, he'll automatically wake back up because the trading post is right there to resurrect him. After aging up, take your settlers off of wood and send the 700 wood shipment. This will go to be building the first few houses, because with that 400 wood, I'm going to be building a barracks and a stable, like I said earlier. Here I need to get away with my explorer now as soon as possible, because he has a scout and the explorer, so just right click right by the town center and bring him back. Here I see I might actually be able to kill this scout because he's getting really close to my town center, so I pop some CDB in it, and it's actually enough to take out the scout. So I see my explorer is actually at like 1 HP, so I run away with him, and the town center is enough to scare away the enemy explorer, because he would have likely died chasing my guy. So yeah, now I need to build some houses and then queue up some military with the 2 buildings that I built. Something interesting to note here is that I went for the trading post in transition, and my opponent did not, so that likely means he's going to be going for H2 play, because the trading post gets you shipments, and shipments are more valuable if you're in the Fortress Age. So sort of to me, what his play is indicating is that he's going to be going aggressive colonial, so I need to be queuing up musketeers to defend that. And also I can see that he's trying to grab this treasure. Like I said earlier, I was keeping an eye on it, and so I'm going to try to swoop in and grab it now. So as you can see, I barely got the treasure there. I was pretty happy about that. And here I sort of have a decision point. I can either go for 8 crossbows or 700 gold, depending on whether I want to age up or fight it in colonial. And since I was pretty sure he was going to be attacking me here, I sent the 8 crossbows. As I can see, 5 musketeers charge out at me, so I need to retreat and wait for reinforcements to arrive. Something I've recently started doing that's really increased my ability to produce units is using hotkeys. So what I do in this game is I have my hotkey 1 is my barracks and hotkey 2 is my stable. So I click on my barracks and click control 1, and then my stable I click control 2, and then every time I click 1 it'll go to my barracks, and every time I click 2 it'll go to my stable. So a lot of what I do this game is I click 1 and then the M button to queue up musketeers, and then 2 and then the S button to queue up hussars. I found that making these changes and incorporating them into my play has actually drastically increased my ability to constantly be pumping out units, and I've actually seen a pretty decent PR jump from, so my last game that I recorded on this channel I was PR 21, and now I'm nearing PR 23 just from sort of making this change and focusing more on my macro. Here I don't really do the most efficient thing. When you get housing blocked, you probably want to put 2 settlers on 1 house. Instead I sort of queue up 3 houses individually, and because of that I sort of I don't know, it could have been bad if my timing was closer. I don't miss the batch, but it's not ideal to do if you're in that sort of situation. So right now I'm going to have a pretty good timing push. I'm queuing up a lot of hussar. I have my 3 hussar shipment that's about to arrive, so I'm going to have a lot of cavalry, and they're not necessarily going to be expecting this because I had mainly musketeers and crossbow the last time we fought. So I'm hoping for the cav mix-up might be able to get him. So I think there's a really good chance that this timing push will be very devastating. So here I push in and I see he has a tower. Here I make a small mistake, or it's kind of a mistake. I probably should just fight here because I outnumber his cavalry by a ton, and I can see that those 3 cav were right underneath the tower, which means he just sent his 3 hussar shipment. That's something I didn't realize in the moment. And looking back on it, I probably should just take this fight here, but instead I want to wait it out and sort of fight for map control and try to find where this person's actually getting their food income from, because currently I have no idea, but I see, you know, I'm sort of gathering hunts away from my base, so it seems like they're probably going to be doing the same too, assuming the map wasn't just completely imbalanced. So I'm sort of trying to find now where their food income is coming from, and then I'm going to push that point and force them off their resources. And here's one of the reasons why it's so important to have your native scout in the French mirror. As you can see, I saw that he had maybe 6 settlers gathering food down here below, and they're just building a house, so they'll have nothing to garrison in. So my plan is here is to send 6 cavalry in to raid them while I push his base, and I'm hoping that he'll be distracted by me attacking him and not focus on his settlers, and he won't hear the alarm because he's already getting attacked. So normally there's sort of a notification sound when you get attacked. However, you don't really notice it if you're already hearing it because you're getting pushed from the front. So a lot of time this small little trick will actually work on people because they're focusing on the battle, and then by the time they realize it's sort of too late. And now I'm just retreating because I have an eco advantage. I've killed 6 of his settlers, so I just need to sort of run back and kite, and then I should be able to win this game in the long run now. At this point in the game, I'm just making sure I'm keeping up with military production and then retasking all my idle villagers. So I'm just hitting the idle villager button, cycling to where the next one is, rinse, repeat till they're all working on something that's helpful. I send the 700 coin here because I'm stacking a lot of food and I don't have very much coin. So it'll help me just pump out units because that's going to be the next part of the game. I just need to keep pumping out units and attacking it. So now I'm just sort of checking, trying to see where they're gathering food from now. And I see they're actually pushing into me, but I'm pretty sure I can just fight this because Hussars actually take a lot of damage to kill because they have a ranged resist. So if you're shooting the Hussar, they actually have a lot of hit points. However, once the Musketeers go into melee mode, they're much more effective against a Hussar. So here I see he sort of did a switch, and you saw the Musketeers kind of changed, and now they're chasing me with the bayonets. So I just run away with my Musketeer, and then I start kiting with my infantry. And basically, if I hold off his push here, I should be in a really good position to take the game because I'm up in eco. I'm producing 2-unit composition, Hussar and Musketeer, so I sort of have an advantage there. We're pretty tight on map control, but I have the trading post. So my eco is a lot better, and yeah, I just need to hold on, and basically I'll be able to outmass my opponent just the longer the game goes on. So yeah, here the final army's push is kind of dying. I have reinforcing batches coming right now. A batch of 5 Hussar, a batch of 5 Musketeer. I sort of know that right at this point, it's my game to lose. And as long as I continuously apply pressure and just keep trading with my opponent, I'll eventually just be able to outmass them because I have the stronger eco. I need to be super careful here. Really, the only way I can lose the game is if they have a huge villager raid. So I just need to be super careful and have my army near the center of the map where my villagers are. So in case he does raid me, I'll be able to pick off some military as sort of compensation, so it won't just be a loss for me. Another thing that's important to do when you have the advantage is to never stop sort of attacking and putting at least pressure on your opponent, because whenever someone feels like they're no longer just constantly getting harassed, they'll actually take the initiative to come out and attack you. But if you can get your opponent in this state where they're constantly reacting to everything you do and you sort of control the pace of the game, especially if you're up on eco, there's practically no way you can lose. So here, I see where he's gathering resources from. I sort of know this is probably where the last fight's going to be taking place. So I just start sieging down the tower and force his army to come get me, basically. I'm sort of taunting him here, saying, come get me or I'm going to kill all your villagers. So yeah, he comes. I switch the Musketeers into melee mode to do the additional damage to the Hussar, and I run in with my cavalry. Here I probably should switch the Musketeers off of melee mode because the Hussar ran away. But it's not too big of a problem because at this point my eco is so much better and they're not even gathering resources from their hunt right now. So as you can see, his villagers are just fighting in the fight here because he needs to win this fight, otherwise he's going to lose the game. So it's sort of an easy cleanup at this point, and I can just keep sending units in, and I know that if I just keep sending units in here, they won't be able to he won't be able to gather resources, and then I can just sort of win the game. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned something about how to play the French mirror and why these sort of small advantages you pick up in the early game are so important. As you can see, I just out-ecoed them because of this villager loss on the graph here. Let me know in the comments if there are any civs you all want to see me play next, and also let me know if there's any civs you want me to play against next. So that's all that I have here. Thanks for watching. If you're a new player, I hope you learned something new, and see you all later. Zaza signing off.